I have been here on Main Street for 4 months now. So I started back in June, so maybe actually, yeah, approaching that. And before that, I was in Ackley, Iowa as their economic development director, but I've been in economic development for a little bit over a year now. So, oh wow, yeah, it varies. So my job requires me to visit the rural communities, the smaller towns in Story County, and so there are 11 different communities that are kind of in my responsibility. And so I would go to city council meetings, I meet different stakeholders there. So every time you go to a different town, their needs are going to be different and they're going to ask different things of you. So yeah, it varies day to day. Yeah, okay. So my hometown, it had several economic and social problems, and so it's kind of like declining rural community. About 4,000 people live there, centered on one industry, the granite industry, and so there's not much diversity in terms of the economy there. And they saw the same symptoms of decline a lot of other rural communities have seen. So vacant storefronts, declining populations, stagnating or even decreases in incomes, quality housing stock declining. So there are a bunch of different problems that kind of cascade into this whole idea of decline. And so wanting to better that got me into planning. It's tough because it can be subjective based on the subfield of planning, right? And the different types of work that people do. I have friends that I went through the master's cohort in this program with who were in a totally different sector of planning, so they would obviously define it differently. They're not economic development directors. They may be working on like zoning and land use and that kind of thing. So it really does vary. For me, it's about being a service to communities so that they can advance their quality of life. That's kind of in a nutshell what it would be, but that's not a very technical term. That's just kind of a vague, broad, general understanding. Yeah. It's kind of like the age-old planning problem of working with various stakeholders, many of whom will have different self-interests. So a lot of times you'll have goals for a community. You may be working with a city council or something like that, or even other stakeholders, but different people may not have the same interests. And so getting all of those people to build consensus, or building consensus with those people, yeah, that's the toughest challenge by far. Yeah, so I have a few. In actual like professional practice, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Professional world. So one would be that we were awarded in a previous work experience over $200,000 for housing repairs for low to moderate income families, and so that was a really big one. That would go to.
You mean in Ames or?
Nope, not in Ames, in Hardin County. So. Yep, it's just a little bit northeast of here. But yeah, that money went to low to moderate income owner-occupied homes. So basically it could fix things like roofs and windows, just to make it more efficient for them, and as a result of that, more affordable for them to maintain. That's one. Another one is pushing downtown restoration in communities that have blighted properties. So a lot of times you'll have small communities that have declined and neglected downtown commercial buildings. And so when those buildings collapse, you have a really big problem to deal with. And it also causes the community to lose its character in a way, because it's what I would call a built asset or a cultural asset. And so finding ways to prevent that, which actually I've changed that to my topic of my professional report, but working with communities to address those problem structures before they collapse. We've done that in a few communities, and I'm really proud of that. So. I think it's, number one, communicating with the stakeholders, making sure that everyone's aware of what you're doing. If you're addressing a big problem, you don't want anyone that's involved to not know how things are going and your own strategies that you're implementing. And the other thing is to find ways to work with difficult, people who have self-interests that make it difficult for them to be on the same page with you, and that's always a problem, And so it's hard to address. You address it in different ways depending on different situations. So. So I have a mission of making smaller communities, enhancing quality of life in smaller communities. So any way that we can holistically do that and holistically being sustainable, then I'm all game. That's what I want to do. So throughout. I would say that developing a thick skin and using the opportunities that your academic program provides you to be a professional and not take things necessarily so personally, because that can really get to you, because things can get really difficult. You want to be able to handle that. Aside from that, that's kind of a fuzzier idea of what to answer your question.
Yeah.
But a more solid, I guess, concrete example would be that planning can be really technical, and so be sure that you have that you pursue technical skills, like
Like the school doesn't touch us a lot of like, technical skills.
Yeah, I think you learn technical stuff in school, but you may not know that you may be dealing with site plans every single day, right? And you need to be able to be equipped to handle questions and that kind of thing about specific technical things like site plans or like codes of ordinances and being familiar with those things. So like in school, you'll probably take a law class, you'll be familiar with land use in general, but you may not be familiar with the intricacies of local city codes or something like that. And those are really, really important, and becoming familiar with that is crucial if you're gonna be successful. So let's see, let me back up. Yeah, I had applied to a position in Ackley, Iowa, and they were looking for an economic development director, small town, looking for someone that had a bachelor's or a master's in planning or related discipline. And so I got that job, but I sought it out. I found it online. And then through professional memberships in different organizations, like if you're a practicing planner or economic development practitioner, you're going to have opportunities to go to conferences and to be a member of different organizations that are in the field. And so that provides you with an opportunity to network and meet people. And so I got a call from the boss here in Ames, who had discovered me through one of those networks, and invited me to apply, and I applied, and it just ended up happening. So.
That's it.
Really? Short.
Yeah, that's it.
Very easy. Yeah.